Seeing that we have dealt with a shitty webcomic for the past month, I think it's time to review one of my personal favorites.
What the hell do you think you're doing?
I'm reviewing next comic.
You're my evil part. You only review bad comics.
You racist
We'll say
bastard.
No man, just fuck off!
So, as my colleague just said, this is one of our personal favorites. This webcomic was so good that I decided I need to have them. So I bought them all and got them imported all the way to Denmark. And even got a written autograph. This is Girls with Slingshots. Girls with Slingshots is a webcomic written and drawn by the amazingly talented Danielle Corsetto from West Virginia. She started out with a blatant rip-off of Garfield, but then moved on to something more in her own field called Hazelnuts, which she made in high school that ended up working as a precursor to the major webcomic success known as Girls with Slingshots. So why is it called Girls with Slingshots? Well, let's just make one thing clear to begin with. It's got nothing to do with this.
Sister, you were super close. Right in the kisser. Show that night who's boss.
Ooh.
Headshot.
Throughout the comic you won't even see a slingshot. So why is it called Girls with Slingshots? People have suggested that it's because at one point they ordered a drink called a slingshot. But the truth is that when Danielle made some art of the lead character from the comic, she drew her with a slingshot. Why a slingshot? Because she didn't know how to draw a gun.
Thank you for the completely unnecessary information, dickwad.
I aim to please. The comic follows the protagonist Hazel Tillington, who struggles with the everyday things one encounters through one's life, such as unemployment, and of course finding Mr. Right.
Yeah, we are all looking for Mr. Right, aren't we?
Yeah. Wait. Throughout the comic we follow Hazel dealing with these problems, and it just never seems like she can catch a break. Once one problem is solved, it always seems like a new one appears, which just goes to show that Danielle knows that stuff has to happen before something is interesting.
Unlike other webcomics who prefer to stay on the same fucking course all the way through the fucking comic.
Word. Of course we don't just follow Hazel, but also the people around her, who also struggles with the usual daily problems, such as creepy stalkers, talking cactuses, and marriage. Okay, so maybe all that stuff isn't as normal, but isn't too far off. Maybe beside the cactus. The point I'm trying to make is that all these scenarios are some you can relate to, and being able to relate to something is great. For the most part.
Right in the jewels.
Even if I wanted to, I couldn't possibly cover all the stuff that Hazel and the group gets up to in one single video. Which is a good thing, because it keeps the story interesting all the way through. Not only that, but every strip is even more fun than the one before. However, it's not forced, and if Danielle feels like it's time to play with your emotions rather than make you laugh, she'll do just that in a way that only a great writer would be able to. Even he couldn't help getting drawn into it.
I'll have you know that showing your emotional side is a great way to meet women. Next week I'm going to mix it up with playing a guitar.
No.
Hey, you play guitar?
Are you an angel?
Girls with Slingshots easily has the best characters I've ever seen in any comic in my entire life. Every character has so much depth that they might as well be the lead characters or have a series of their own. Even the characters who you hardly see for more than 2 pages.
You think I could have a comic of my own?
No chance.
Why not?
You're a rip-off of Angry Joe.
You're a rip-off of Angry Joe.
First up is Hazel Tillington. You can't help but to love her, but she's hating you with a dying passion. Hazel may at first glance come across as a lesbian, and a hardcore one at that. But luckily for us guys, she's straight. Hazel has 3 things in life she cares about: booze, her sex toys, and our next character, Jamie. Did you see that fluid transition? Half a year of this shit, baby! Whenever someone has pointed out that I gave my characters big breasts for the sole reason of objectifying women as sex objects, all I've needed to do is point them at the lovely Jamie McJack. Jamie is as lovely as a cold beer and grilled meat after a hard day at work. And like the meat, you want to dig your teeth into her as well. Again? Come on! Admit it, you're impressed! Jamie is all about the boobs, but not in a way that makes her a total slut. She's funny, she's kind, she's helpful, and the only time she uses her breasts are in truly dire situations. Like when she needs a free drink. Pro tip guys, that only works for women. Just throwing it out there. You can't say girls with slingshots without saying ach.
You can. Ach isn't even in Girls with Slingshots.
Which is the catchphrase of everyone's favorite and only talking Irish cactus MacPedro. MacPedro can only be heard when Hazel is drunk out of her wits, so he's pretty talkative throughout the most of the comic. When I first wrote this review, I was gonna mention how he sort of symbolized Hazel with how he kinds of keeps people away and hurts people who gets too close. But then I thought, fuck it, it's MacPedro, you don't need to know any more than that. But if you do, MacPedro was made as a sort of marketing tool because someone wanted to make plush dolls for the comic. In the beginning, they wanted to make dolls of Jamie and Hazel, but Danielle got freaked out of this and thought to herself, what's more cuddly than a cactus? And thus, one of the most interesting mascots for webcomics ever was born. Lastly, there's people like Jameson, the world's coolest barista who is one of the few bringing any real testosterone to this comic, other than Hazel at times, and it's actually built upon the creator of the webcomic in his likeness, James Haddon. Jameson is dating Maureen, who is the definition of a blog girl and awfully cute to boot. There's also Clarice, who works in a local porn store, and I simply love the jokes that centers around her and her experience in the field. There's Candy, Chris, Zach, Tara, Erin, Darren, Angel, Melody, Jim, Taylor, and many, many more. And if you don't like one of them, you're bound to love several others of them.
Enough of that. Give us something to hate. Give in to the hate, Riiser.
I've really broken my head around this, but I just can't seem to find anything bad about this comic. This comic is, if not one of, then the best webcomic I've ever read. The premise is a 10. There are not enough of these comics. Comics that the everyday dude can enjoy and relate to. All other attempts I've read has failed, but this comic gets it just right. The art is an 8. Danielle pictures everyone with different styles and even goes as far as taking them completely out of their natural styles, and you'll still be able to see who's who. However, there are no colors far into the comic. It first changes around the 1000 pages mark, so the art loses a little points there. As for the characters, it should go without saying that we are dealing with another 10. Every character has so much depth they could have a comic of their own and are all believable and funny to follow. All in all, the comic is a 9. The comic is hilarious and is an excellent story altogether that I can more than warmly recommend that you pick up and read.
That was a rather short review.
For some reason it's easier to write jokes when you're angry about something.
Well, you'll have plenty of stuff to hate in our next review of S1E17. See? I can make cool transitions as well.
I'll see you guys on the next webcomic relief. Take care.
Dick.
Bada bing.